So we're ready to move on to chapter 2.4. We're going to learn about the percent equation, which is similar to what we did. It has to do with the percent, the part, and the whole. So we will learn to use the percent equation to find the percent, the part, and the whole. The percent equation is an equation that describes the relationship between the part, whole, and percent. The part equals the percent times the whole. And you can see it below. Part equals percent times whole. Please make sure you copy this into your notes. So let's look at our key concepts. Okay? Remember, percent is always over what number? 100. Percent is always over 100. The part, the word is, and the whole, the word is of. So we have 3 is what percent of 6. We don't know the percent. It says what percent. We write the equation as 3 equals n times 6. When we have the part, what number is, that's the thing I don't know. 50 is my percent and of is my whole. So P equals, part equals 0.5, we change the 50% to a decimal, times 6. When we want to find the whole, it says 3 is 50% of what number? That's the thing we don't know. Part equals percent times whole. So we put the 3 in the part place, the 0.5 in the percent place, times the W, which we don't know. Make sure you copy this in your notes. So let's look at our first example. Our first example says, what number is 12% of 150? So let's look at what we know. What number is? The thing that we don't know is the part. Okay? Remember, part equals percent times the whole. I needed to make my pen a little bit bigger. So we can substitute. P is the thing that we don't know, equals 12%. How do I write that as a decimal? I move the space over 2 points. So P equals 0.12 times 150. Now if we use our calculator, we get P is equal to 18. You go back to your original equation and you say 18 is 12% of 150. Copy that in your notes. Let's move on to our next example. It says 21 is what percent? We don't know the percent. 21 is, that's our part, of is our whole. Use that equation. Part equals percent times whole. We know the part is 21 equals, we don't know the percent, so we're going to use an n times the whole, which is 40. So how do we solve this? Okay, we have to get, we can do 21 equals n times 40, which is 40n. Now remember, we have to get that variable by itself, so we divide by 40, and we use our calculator, and we get n is equal to 0.525. Well, that's not in a percent, so we have to move the decimal 2 to the right. So let's do that. 1, 2. So we get 21 is 52.5% of 40. Let's look at example 3. It says 13 is 26% of what number? 13 is, that's my part, that's my percent. What number of what number? We don't know our whole. So remember, part is equal to percent times whole. So we know our part, 13, right, is equal to percent. We have to change that to a decimal, so we move it over to 0.26 W because we don't know our W. So now we're going to divide by 0.26, and using our calculator, we get 50 is equal to W. So we can say 13 is 26% of 50. And there's your final answer. Let's look at example 4. It says a survey found that 25% of people aged 18 to 24 gave up their home phone and only used a cell phone. If 3,264 people only use a cell phone, how many people were surveyed? So let's use our words. What do we want to find? It says 3,264 is 25% of what number of people? So we have our is and we have our percent. So we can say part equals percent times whole, right? So we can say 13 is our, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. We can say that 3,264, because that's our part, is 0.25 times the whole. So we divide by 0.25, and we get 13056 is equal to W. So we can say 13056, or 13,056 people were surveyed. So that's all the examples you should have copied down into your notes. Now, do your OYO problems, bring your notes and your OYO problems to class for points tomorrow.